And you might have to do jail time, but if you ask those individuals what was better, following your conscience or following illegal orders, they, you know, in the end, they can live with their decisions. So many people cannot. And they need a lot of help when they come back to deal with the trauma that they've participated in and they've witnessed. But the first step is stop inflicting more trauma, either on the people that are being occupied or the soldiers. Everybody needs to come home, and then we can regroup and move forward from there.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, I'd like to share a story that touched me. I saw on YouTube. Maybe you've seen it yourself, but it's a story by Grant Collins where he tells a story. He was a soldier in Iraq, and he was sort of in charge of a group of soldiers. I don't know what they call them, platoons or something. I don't know. And but his job was, you know, there was a house, and they thought maybe there were so-called terrorists in there, and so he ordered the firing on the house. So they fired a missile onto the house, and they run into the house, right? He and his group. They run into the house, and he sees a woman sitting there, you know, just crying, her head in her hands, dead child, dead old woman, dead husband, I think maybe 2 dead children, and this woman just crying. And, you know, the guys realize, oh, there's nobody in here that's worth anything. They're not dangerous. They just run back out. Well, the guy, Grant Collins, who called the order, he just falls apart. And he just, you know, he just falls against the wall and just loses it. He just cannot believe that he has just done this. He has just, you know, essentially murdered this woman's family. And he says that she comes over to him and she puts her hand on his cheek and she just says, Inshallah. And she just totally forgave him. She just completely forgave him because she realized that he felt such remorse. And that story has always just so touched me. And I thought, if everyone could know, you know, this nameless woman, I don't know who she is, and I'm sure, you know, how could we find her? But, you know, if we could highlight that other humanitarian side of the people, and realize that the power of forgiveness, you know, it says in the Quran, to forgive is the highest act of courage. The highest act of courage. Now, this is something also you will never hear about people talk about Islam. Everybody talks about the violence. And it's like, please, would you just sit down and read the book for yourself? Don't take it from secondhand sources. Sit down and read it for yourself and come back and say that again. It says always, you may never instigate the violence. Never instigate the violence. And as soon as your enemy puts down the weapons, you must also put down the weapons. And you don't seek retaliation. You may, you know, if you go back to Mosaic law, you may, it's legal, but you're not going to score any points doing it. You want to score points? Forgive. Who talks about this? Who talks about this? It's very easy to hate Muslims when nobody talks about the truth about Islam.
Absolutely, and that really goes for, you know, I'm not a religious scholar, and that'll be the understatement of the day. But pretty much the limited knowledge I have is that the 3 major Abrahamic faiths, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, they all express the sentiments of, you know, thou shalt not kill, love thy neighbor, you know, be a good person, be a good community leader. All these positive things. There will always be individuals with human frailties who want to use the words of these teachings for their own agenda. And that's what happens with all of these religions. But breaking that down in a country, again, that has been brainwashed to see evils. This is the new communism. This is the new ism to fear, because as long as there is something out there to fear, then people will keep their mouths shut and will go along with the policies. And I think this is why the election of Barack Obama really destroyed a movement in this country, because I think it's all hypothetical, but we are basically living in Bush's 3rd term. The policies are consistent. There have been massive bailouts to the big banks. There's been continued occupation of Iraq and a surge in Afghanistan. We are bombing Pakistan. We are threatening Iran. Domestically, we're not going to get a public option for health care. What is the difference? Mm-hmm. Except that there's a different guy living at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Mm-hmm. It's a difference in appearance, and that's about it. Mm-hmm. So we need to wake up. Mm-hmm. And we were lulled to sleep, but for what is happening in our name, for the sake of a whole lot of people around the world, we have to recognize that the same way that after World War II, the world looked at the German people and said, how could you let this happen? Mm-hmm. They are looking at us now and saying the same. Mm-hmm. And that's sort of my motivator. It's part of my background is that my mom's parents were Holocaust survivors who fled their homeland of Austria and came to the United States. They saved their lives and they started over again. In my speeches, you'll hear me say that it's for them we say never again. Mm-hmm. Well, never again should apply to everybody. Mm-hmm. There should be no more genocide. We've come further than that. And there is enough out there without greed and power-hungry leadership that is making decisions for us that are really to our detriment and the detriment of the future.
Mm-hmm. I think that when we finally do find our courage, our collective courage, and our I don't know what I want to say, wisdom, I don't know, our compassion, our ability to forgive everyone, ourselves, our so-called enemies, when we get there, I think we're going to feel a sense of shame that why didn't we get here so much sooner? It was so easy to do this. How could we have let this go on this long? How many people we could have saved? I think of Schindler's List, where he's like counting I could have saved another one with this coin, and I could have saved another one. Oh, and looking back in regret, and it's like, time is up. I mean,
I think, and I think that's the magic of the story you told about Grant Collins is that, it will take the individual effort. People say, well, what can one person do? Mm-hmm. And I think Gandhi said that what you do will be insignificant. Do it anyway. Because there are ripples, and the ripples, and I guess I'm quoting Robert Kennedy now, but the ripples go out and they can build, and that's how, a movement builds. But on the individual level, this one soldier showing humanity before a woman who has lost everything allows them to meet, and probably they can't speak the other's language, but they can meet on an emotional level. And there is something for this Iraqi woman to see besides the violence that Americans have brought them, and something for the soldier to see besides the brainwashing that the military and our society has given him. And when we break down those barriers, I think we will be pleasantly surprised by what we can achieve that way. And it may be Pollyanna, and it may be wishful thinking. I don't care. Mm-hmm. With my family in harm's way and my government inflicting the harm, I sort of maintain this naivete just to move forward, and with the hopes of better days coming, because they push forward, knowing full well that the next several decades will be an incredible struggle. So we keep going, we push forward, and move for a better world. And all you have to do is look at your kids and decide what would you do for them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, I would say that you are a perfect stereotype smasher. Coming, Iraqi, American background, Jewish, Muslim background. I mean, you smash all the stereotypes in one eloquent fell swoop. And I mean, my goodness, how what more could you ask for? My goodness.
Well, thank you so much. It took me a long time to come to terms with my identity, and I would say I'm still doing so. But it's like I said, I benefit greatly from having a voice, and I greatly appreciate the opportunity to share my voice with you today.
Thank you. You're a universal soul, something we should all sort of aspire to. We should all be universal souls. Let's move there and realize that really we have so much more in common than we do differences. Like the Quran says, come together on the things you agree on. Leave the differences alone,
Amen.
Amen.
I mean.
Okay. So, YouTube channel is Dahlia S. Wasfi. I'll spell that. We'll also put a link to the side. That's Dahlias, and then Wasfi, Wasfi. I mean, this woman's going to blow your mind. You listen to her talk. She's got the website, LiberateThis.com. Hopefully her book will be coming out the end of the year. Also, Liberate This. Hopefully the editors will agree with the name because I think it's a great name. And, let's bring about change. I mean, we all need to, come together. That's what the whole Wake Up Project is about. It's what the whole thing is about. By the way, you can visit the Wake Up Project, wakeupproject.com. So, till the next show, assalamu alaikum, shalom, peace, and have a good evening, everyone.